ahead.
I'm not sure if you guys know this, but I'm a bit of a nerd. I know it might be a little hard to believe, but I am. I enjoy video games, fantasy books, and movies, and you guessed it, comic books. One of my favorite comic book series is Hellboy. And don't get me wrong, I love, Spider-Man and Batman and all them, but I find it really hard to keep up, and not every story is one that I truly enjoy. And the same can't be said for Hellboy. I've never picked up a Hellboy comic that I didn't like, and a big reason for that, I'm sure, is because of my love for supernatural stories, cosmic horror, a little bit of steampunk, and a little bit of whatever it's called when spooky stories take place in the past, like that old retro vibe feel. Cthulhu Mythos books do that a lot, but a lot of those books were also written in the past, so anyway, if you find any of that relatable in any way, you'll be just as pleased as I was to find out that Hellboy is getting a game, and that game looks really good. Hellboy Web of Wyrd. Hellboy Web of Wyrd is described as a roguelite action adventure. In all honesty, I had to look up what that meant. And then I had to look up what roguelike meant, and I was still confused, so I had to look up roguelike games. I'm not lying when I tell you I've never felt like less of a gamer looking this stuff up. The only game I've played that I saw in any of those best roguelike games lists was Hitman, and even that was described as not fully roguelike, but like a roguelike. I don't know, this isn't a Hitman review. That was Hitman Absolution if you want to get a real specific. Alright, back to Hellboy. We'll get to gameplay in just a second, but what is Hellboy Web of Wyrd about? As a fan of, like I said, every Hellboy comic I've ever read, I'd be happy with an adaptation of any of these stories really. However, they're going with an original story created in partnership with Dark Horse Comics and the creator Mike Magnolia. And this is very cool to see involvement from the creator and Dark Horse. I think it'll add a lot of authenticity to the story and the overall gameplay experience. Not that it's necessarily uncommon for the creator and stuff to be involved, it's cool. Anyway, the story is about a BPRD agent who goes missing while investigating the house of an occultist. Known as the Butterfly House, this location serves as a portal between our dimension and the Wyrd. You play as Hellboy on a mission to recover the missing agent while investigating this demented plane of existence. Alright, so that is a lot, and I love it. They describe the Wyrd as non-Euclidean in geometry and perverse in its angles. What? He'll be alright. So basically think of environments like this, very Cthulhu Mythos mind-breaky vibes, and any geometry math whizzes can yell at me in the comments if that's wrong. And no, that's not what they mean by perverse angles. After looking up more about roguelike games, this is actually a perfect setting. From what I can tell, roguelikes typically have procedural environments, or at least randomized ones, I think. I'm sorry, I didn't beat Hitman back in 2012. So a dimension where things are meant to not make sense fits perfectly for this type of gameplay. I'm actually really happy to hear this, because personally, when I think of the ideal Hellboy game, it makes me think of something like the Arkham Batman games. I realize that's a bit ambitious though. I'm still very happy with what we're getting for the gameplay. And what is that exactly? I'm sorry, I get hung up on story details over gameplay sometimes. I mean, have you seen the things that we've been covering on this channel? The Steam page says the game has heavyweight combat. You can chain together hard-hitting melee and ranged attacks to fight a diverse array of increasingly nightmarish enemies. So what I'm hearing is you can beat the crap out of enemies with your big-ass hand, or you can shoot enemies with your big-ass gun. And that's exactly what I'd expect from a Hellboy game. Not to mention you'll be doing this in this amazing art style, which is pretty much a perfect replica of the comics. I mean, just look at Hellboy absolutely pummeling this big old wolf man. It looks satisfying and stylish as hell. Something I was wondering about though was actually investigating. While it's not directly stated technically, I feel like there will be some investigating in between the fight sequences, seeing as we're looking for a missing person, and Hellboy and the BPRD are all about investigating these mysterious happenings. Every adventure is said to be wholly unique, while still having stories that fit into the mystery of the Butterfly House. Now, when they say each story is unique, I feel like they mean the player's story, not necessarily the actual in-game story. But who knows? Maybe they have procedural storytelling or something like that. Is that even possible? Is that a thing? All right, the last thing I need to bring up is creature design, because I just can't help myself. I need to talk about it. I love creature design. I say this all the time, and I love the monsters and entities in the Hellboy universe. The world of Hellboy had a grip on me since the first movie with Ron Perlman, and it was because of the way everything is designed. They seem so unique and different to me, but also, inspired by real mythology, folklore, and other cultural tales. And I love that. They do it so well. It's really impressive. Unfortunately, we don't see too many enemies in the current pictures and the trailer, but the ones we do see definitely live up to the comics for me. Now, as long as there's more of them, as in many different kinds of enemies, and not just hordes of the same kind, it'll be perfect. Unfortunately, the game doesn't have a release date yet, but you can wishlist it on Steam, like I did, and patiently wait and pray for no delays. As well as the Steam page, they have a Twitter page, which you should definitely give a follow. I'll link them down in the description below, because it's just really cool to see updates on this, and it's really cool. You get to see Hellboy do cool stuff like smash walls and other cool things. They do really good with this comic book art style for everything. It's insane. I really wanted to cover this game pretty much as soon as I saw it, and I felt like it wasn't too far away from the stuff we're covering. You know, it's like supernatural, horror-esque stuff. I'm just a huge nerd for Hellboy, and I really wanted to cover the game. I'm definitely still doing a whole bunch of FNAF stuff. We just covered a whole lot of big news from the FNAF movie. So if you're interested in that, it'll be in the card somewhere up there, and also linked down in the description below, as well as my shirt that I'm not wearing from my clothing company, the Nostalgia Corporation. As usual, that is the first link in the description below. If you want to check it out, I greatly appreciate it. Very cool. But yeah, what do you guys think of Hellboy Web of Wyrd? I'm super interested in it. It caught my eye as soon as I saw it. Super cool. I'm excited to cover more of it. If there's any big significant updates, I'd be happy to show you guys more. So just let me know if you'd like that down in the comments. Anyway, that's about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this. Stay tuned for more, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.